So I finished this guy, and he's an Imperial Speeder Bike, and we saw them in Return of the Jedi, and they've been a fan favourite ever since. Variations of them have turned up in Rebels, the comics, novels. They're great fun, and this is from the new Star Wars Legion line, which is vastly improved over the old Imperial Assault ones. There's elements of Imperial Assault I liked. Some elements of Imperial Assault I loved. The fact that they did unusual characters, not everyone named. I like the named characters, Luke and Leia and all them, definitely. But it's also cool that they were releasing a fair amount of just heroes and villains that weren't directly those big famous ones. The Alliance Smuggler is one of my favourites. It's a really nice figure with lots of detail. And if you're playing a smuggler, he's fantastic because it's a character. You have a mini that's not like Han. You don't have to take Han and say, well, my character's a Corellian and he looks like... No, you can actually take the Alliance Smuggler and make your character around him. And they did that a fair bit. There's quite a few figures that aren't known ones. And then they started releasing some from Rebels, and I think there's a couple from the comics. So it's really cool they did that. But the detail in the Imperial Assault line is very hit or miss. There's ones that are fantastic, that just blow you away with being really cool and interesting. In the core set, the Botham was that. He was so good. Loads of detail, pouches, he was like a commando. He was great. He was a joy to paint too. And then you'll get the Imperial Officer, which was woeful. You'll get guys with a pistol that's massively oversized. So I'm quite happy they've moved up to a 32mm scale. Because with the Stormtroopers as well, Stormtroopers were quite hard to paint. Because although they're just white and black as a base sort of colour, they really had little definition on like their eye sensors and things like that. So when you went to paint them, you sort of had to guess a bit. With the 32mm guy here, he was much easier to do. He was much more defined. He has lots of pouches. I did go some variants over what would be considered a cannon trooper. I did some browns to add some colour to him for his pouches and stuff like that, which they're not brown on the one in the movie. He has a belt buckle, which I did steel, and I don't think that's steel in the movie either. So I added some colour just to break it up. There's some stuff about this I truly love. His hands are connected to the steering rods, and the steering rods just plug into the side of the bike. This means you get the correct position for the rider really easy. You don't have to muck about with trying to work out where he should be sitting. It shows you. The weather vanes, the steering vanes at the front, they're a little fiddly. There's only 2 pieces, not 4, thank God. But they are a little, touchy, and you've got to pay attention to make sure they're both on the right sort of angle. Because if you get one at one angle and the one next to it on a different angle, you really will notice it when you look at them. So you've got to spend a bit of time just making sure that gets right. The arms click in. I glued all of them, but they go in only one way, so you can't get him in the wrong position. The only part on this whole thing that was annoying is the foot stirrups. This connects underneath and then onto the base of his feet. Getting those 3 points, because there's 3 points, one on each foot and then underneath, all to line up, is a lot of work. That's the only part on the whole figure that was frustrating and annoying. Everything else was great. He was gangs of fun. I love these guys. I really do. I mean, I'm a bit fanboying when it comes to the Imperial bikes. Now, there is one thing which I haven't seen people mention, and I was surprised about this because this is wrong. Well, at least I think it's wrong. Might be about to make a goober now. I'm pretty sure, though, that the bikes, when they're speeding along, these 2 panels at the back open, and that these close when they're not moving. So might have to have a quick look, but I'm pretty sure those are meant to open, and that's the only ones they have is the closed position. There's no other options for positioning. If you see pictures from the core set, there's an officer leaning back with his pistol out shooting. You don't get that option in this expansion pack. There's 2 troopers, slightly different pose, but that option isn't one of them, which is a little bit disappointing. But so this one's been done in the more traditional, and then the second one I'm painting, I'm doing a coastal trooper. I thought I'd just, for total difference, let's do something completely different to what I normally do with these guys. So he's getting a coastal camouflage sort of pattern, and I've painted his bike up different, and yeah, just to sort of experiment a bit and just do something completely different to what I would normally do. But these are great fun. They're about $30 Canadian for the 2, which is a little high. I wish there was 3 bikes included for $30, but it is what it is. But I think they could, if FFG being the powerhouse that they are, they could cut us a bit more of a deal on some of this stuff, or give us a few more options in the box. Especially when you look at Warlord Games, which is one of my favourite companies all out, doing the Doctor Who game, which is fantastic. But their bolt action figures, for $30 you get quite a few plastic figures, and then you get a lot of options: head options, arm options, weapon options, gear options. It's all in the box. So FFG, being the powerhouse that they are, could certainly be giving us some options with these guys too. But yeah, there you go. Thanks for watching, and happy painting.